Hello, everybody. Christian here. Back at it again. Back at it again. Who am I? Jeez, this is not 2016. I'm here gonna be doing another one of these like life update videos. I know so many people love these. It's by far my favorite. It's been a really long time since my last update video. I could be completely wrong, but I want to say it was August 27th when I made my last one. 2018. That was when my baby brother Camden was born. Update on that. We're best friends. He's my best friend in the whole wide world. Along with Drake, you know, they get in fights a lot, but reminds me of my brother and I when we were young. I feel like it's been long overdue since I've done a life update. And honestly, like, I feel like everyone has said the sense with everything that's going on. Like, yeah, I know we all know what's going on, but nonetheless, I think that, oh man, it's crazy how many things have happened since 2018. And I'm just gonna recap until I get to late 2019. Pretty much, I'm not sure if any of you are aware, or anyone who's watching this that doesn't know me in real life. One of my films, Passion, got in the world's biggest high school film festival, so that's really cool. That was a really long time ago, though. And then I think it was my junior year, I decided, hey, you know what? High school's kind of dumb. I'm just gonna graduate early. I mean, it wasn't challenging me, and I didn't find a need to take AP and college courses. I did take a college course though. I need to get that credit in, but because I already knew where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. I mean, I've known what I've wanted to do with my life since I was like 8 to 10 years old, which is film. I am currently studying film at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, going for a bachelor's of the arts, so that's interesting. You know, I think that the decision to graduate early was a very bold one, to say the least. I don't think. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Rest in peace, headphone users. But I think my life would have went a lot differently if I would have just waited a semester. I only graduated a semester early because I was held back from a gym credit and half of a social studies credit. But besides that, I was done. I was like pretty much finished by the end of sophomore year. So I think it would have affected my relationships with people a lot differently if I weren't to have made that decision. Obviously, a lot more events transpired over time in order to create certain events that have happened. Man, I this is off topic, but I remember watching one of my older one of these, and I talked in the same kind of way where I was like talking about a specific person or a specific event, but I didn't actually like lay it out. And it's funny because I know no one else knows who I'm talking about in my last one, but I do, and that's what really matters. But the decision really affected things in positive and negative ways. I guess you could say negative short-term, positive long-term. I think in the short term, like it would, like in the moment where it was the summer before senior year or my senior year, and that's when my life really kind of really started going downhill. It was probably the darkest and most depressing state of my life. I lost my current girlfriend at the time. Really, really close people of mine passed away, and I didn't really feel like I had anyone to depend on. Obviously, I have a very loving family, but a lot of two of the deaths I've had over that summer, I were within the family, and they're really hit really, really close to home. My family's still struggling with it. I'm still struggling with it, but I had to be strong for them. And with that being said, like I didn't don't know how to word this, because I don't know if it's even true or not. Like, it's something I think about constantly, is if I had time to truly process what had happened. But I think it really these deaths and breaking up with my girlfriend at the time really taught me something very important about life, and it kind of was like a next chapter for me. And I pretty much learned that there are people there to support you and to help you get through life. There's going to be people that come and people that go, but the only one that can really get you there is yourself. And that's an extremely important thing I learned, and something I'm obviously still carrying around with me. It makes me look at relationships, friendships, or lovers or family a lot differently. It's like I love them and they mean the world to me, and I wouldn't give up anything for that. But I also realize that I can't fully rely on them and not rely on myself to get the job done. I had a moment in my life when I was in a relationship and I had it all. This is before all of these deaths and all these events transpired. I was like, I was living comfortably, and I think with the comfort that I had, with the comfort that I had, it really like had my mind, how do I say this? I lost sight of a lot of things. I don't feel like I was very productive creatively or with really any endeavor that I was kind of pursuing at the time. As you can see, there was a 2-year gap between the films I uploaded on YouTube, but I don't think that it was because of those people in my life, but I think it was due to how I treated those relationships with those people, like how I used them in my life. And with those people being gone, I think it really showed me that either you sink or you swim, you drown or you keep on swimming. And honestly, I was at a point at the very beginning after all this happened. It kind of went in a spiral. I started having a lot of self-destructive tendencies. I already wasn't doing a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do, but I had no motivation to even get out of bed in the morning. Getting to school, honestly, school is the only thing that really kept me sane. I had a job. I was working at McDonald's, which that was an interesting experience. I couldn't. It's interesting how school, it goes okay, but when I went to work, I just sat at drive-through and I was just thinking about all of these things that were happening. Just 24/7. I couldn't think, and I was really stressed out, and due to my distractions, I messed up a couple change exchanges, and it led me to be not yelled at, but it was kind of oh, you miscounted my change. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. It really, I just felt really distracted, and I couldn't work with this bearing force coming over me, because I depended on them too much when I should have been depending on myself. And so anyways, I got to a point, it was ADHD's kicking in. I see a little speck in the air. I went in downward spiral. To be honest, I didn't want to be alive. I didn't want to continue with my life. And I understood, the thing is about something I learned about my depression is that no matter how hard it got, I knew that I couldn't take the easy way out. But at this point was the first time that I actually felt that I wanted to do it, but I knew it wasn't an option, if that makes sense. But after that, I started to try to get closure. 2 steps forward, 1 step back is the only way I describe getting closure with a lot of these things. And then I moved to college, and that was kind of my savior. College was something, like, it was a fresh start. And I've had so many fresh starts in my life, moving to new schools, going to different households. This was different because for the first time, I was actually like scared of what kind of change is happening. And it was a good thing too. It wasn't like, oh, I'm scared like I'm gonna fail. It was like scared like, because this is such an open world I'm gonna be pursuing by myself without like living in my parents' house. I'm gonna be doing this all by myself. Albeit I'm still in Milwaukee, only like 2 hours away from my parents, but it was a whole new world for me, and I took advantage of it immediately. I started exploring, going to different coffee shops, going to different stores, and just like wandering around the area. And I had so many cool adventures by myself. But then, keep in mind, when I first moved in, it wasn't moving day for the rest of the people. Since I came in the middle of the year, so I was coming in January, everyone else already had their first semesters or second semesters, and then they're just halfway through and they had their winter break and they were coming back, and I had like 2 days. Keep in mind, I had like 7 days from the day I graduated high school to when I had to start college, like my first classes, and that was so stressful because usually people have 3 months to kind of like get their thoughts together and stuff like that. And it was really exciting. Like, I mean, I can't stop smiling because it's just, I can't even explain it. Like, let me just backtrack. Let me just don't get ahead of myself here. So a couple days pass after, I wander and explore outside my dorm, which took me a lot of courage because this is like, it's a big city. And like, it's so hard to like, after I move in, I'm like, this is my home now. And it's just like hard, like, okay, I gotta go. I have to like get out of here and like start venturing around, which is the coolest feeling ever. Like when you're just by yourself and you have your own space and you're in a completely new environment that you've never been in before, I take that kind of pressure and make it into something positive. And I've never felt that much bliss in my entire life. I walked all the way to the lakefront and found my favorite coffee shop, Collectivo, and it has such a cool thing. And I started doing some surveys that I needed to do before I started my classes, and it was just such a cool thing. And then I edited some of my photos that I've been working on, and that was really fun. But a couple days pass and my roommates move in, or some of them, and I was just like, I was really nervous because I didn't know what kind of bunch of people I was gonna have. Luckily I had really great roommates. I had Ethan, which was my actual roommate. So keep in mind that I lived in a suite, I lived in a suite where there's 2 adjacent rooms, and then there's a common area with sink and vanity, and then there's the bathroom. So with my actual roommate, I had my roommate Ethan. He was really cool. Just went out and drank beers and hard alcohol, and just like passed out in his friend's dorm. So I pretty much had my dorm to myself, which is a pretty great feeling. It was a great, amazing feeling, just to kind of have that privacy. And then across the way, there was Tareq and Sean. Sean I didn't really talk to too much. He seemed like a really nice guy. But Tareq, he's actually pretty much now my best friend. We had so much fun. I had to say had because I'm back home now, but I'll get to that. So I met him, and I met a lot of his friends through him, which is really great. We went on a lot of different adventures. I'm gonna have to like keep some of these adventures for a separate video because like, holy crap. Like, I never thought that I would do some of the things I did with him in a million years. It's pretty insane. I'm really glad that I did. I had a ton of great times with him, even in the dorms, like. And then we like going and venturing around Milwaukee and discovering new things, and it was a really great time. But so I come back from my classes one day, and I think it was when I want to say, like, I got done with my noon class and I was done for the day, and it was a great feeling. I think it was Friday, because Wednesdays are my longest days. Thursdays. No, it was Thursday. It was a Thursday, and I just got done with one of my shortest days, which was like, I got off at like 12, which was a great feeling. And I come back to the dorms, and I wasn't expecting anyone to be there, and all of a sudden, all of them were there. Well, two of them were there. Sean was in his girlfriend's dorm, but they were there, and I'm like, what are you guys doing here? It's like, we're going home, baby. I'm like, what? And it's like, the corona's giving us extra spring break. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I don't think anyone fully grasped what was yet to come when it come to COVID. But the reason why we had to leave is because there was suspicion that one of the workers in my dorm had it. And so we just left. We just grabbed the bare essentials, just left. And then I realized they were tested negative, but then coronavirus started getting worse and worse and worse. So my dorm, which you keep in mind, it's in Milwaukee, which is one of the most like infested areas of Wisconsin. All my stuff was still there, so I had to go move out a couple months later, and that was probably it was a very emotional experience for me, because I mean, to have that life, that like taste of pure bliss and just adventure and growth as a person over those last couple months, and taught me so many lessons and everything, just to get it like kind of taken from you. And like, obviously I'm not complaining like, oh man, life is like so bad, like I can't even deal with it, like I just have the worst possible situation. But like, in reality, I understand that there's a lot more pressing issues going on with the coronavirus, but like, it was like, how it affected me personally is just like, I had so many great memories, even though I was only there for like 3 months. I feel like I was just pulled out of my element, and I was pulled back to high school reality, where I was living with my parents, and I feel like I kind of regressed in my growth as a person, because you know, I wasn't in an environment where I could just find myself, and instead I'm stuck in a house for, I think has it been like 3 months? So I want to say it's about 2.5 to 3 months, which is insane. Like, time's been going by extremely fast. But now at this point, part of the reason I'm recording this, it's 12:47. What's the date today? It's May 22nd. And I just haven't been able to sleep, because I've been with what we're going through right now, being quarantined, it leaves a lot to be reflected. And I've been reflecting on the good times, the bad times, and I feel like I'm kind of reliving them in a way where I feel the emotions in a less impactful way, but I still kind of like, I'm thinking about those things that have happened, whether people entering or leaving my life, some things that just shouldn't. I feel like I should have moved on by now, and then I have those conflicting thoughts like, oh no, grief and loss is always something that's just individual, you know. But I don't know what it is, but sometimes I just hang on to people that have already let go of me, and that's something I have to work on in the future. But I think with me giving a recap of my life, it kind of maybe cements the past in the past. Maybe that will work out the way it is. I guess we'll just have to see. But if I want to leave any takeaway for Christian in the future, I would say keep your loved ones close, but make sure you get to where you need to go yourself. But cherish every opportunity and every person that you come by, because no matter if they're good people, bad people, someone that you were friends with, not anymore, take everything as an opportunity to learn and act. But that's all I gotta say for today. This was probably a really long video. If you somehow reached the end of this, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I wonder how long the next one, how long it's going to be until the next one comes. But until then, see you guys later.